Hello everyone, this is our final video. Thank you for your patience in getting through this online class. Thank you for taking this class. I hope you got something out of it. We'll talk a bit about the final exam, but first off I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you for taking this class. I also have one other shout out. If you watch these videos, you'll know that they were edited, and they weren't edited by me because I'm not that skilled in that area. So a big thank you to my daughter, Sonia Elsie, and she did all the video editing and took a look at these and made sure they came together and cut out a lot of my ums and uhs and things like that. So huge thank you to my daughter, and just am grateful for that. So I'll keep going here. A few things I want to talk about. Before we get into the test, I want to say that I'm going to be there and be available for you in the coming years if you ever have any questions about the CSI world. I'll be continuing to work at the Bellingham Police Department for at least a few more years. I'm not eligible for retirement yet, and I've got a few years left in me, so I want to keep working. But please just call the department, ask for me, probably go to voicemail if it does, and just say, hey, I've got a question about law enforcement or a question about CSI. Happy to talk to you. If you have any questions about employment, about how it works for getting employed with Bellingham Police Department, or if you have questions about interview panels or anything like that with other agencies, give me a call. I'm happy to talk to you. This will be great. I'm excited about the future of law enforcement. It's changing, it's difficult, but that doesn't mean we don't need good, young, excited people to continue becoming police officers. So I'm going to encourage you any way that I can. All right, so now that my pitch is over, let's talk about the test. And I'm not going to be as specific as I was. I'm just going to be quite general here because I think I pretty much gave everybody the answers for the midterm if you watch the video. So this, I'm just going to talk about some general ideas. So I'll go over some of the questions, and I won't be answering them, but it'll give you some idea of what perhaps to study for. Or when you see the test, you'll have loads of time to work on it, so you can probably look everything up. Oh, was I supposed to say that? Anyway, just do your best. That's all. I want you to do well. So what's the importance of forensic photography? Think about that. There's lots of things about why that's specifically important. Know about your types of evidence that you're going to be looking for. Specifically, ask for dominion and control. What does that mean? Fingerprints. I love fingerprints. They're fascinating, and they're such a great piece of evidence. So know what a latent fingerprint is. Know processes for developing fingerprints. Talk about being in court. What does it mean? What's some of the processes for court, specifically when prospective jurors are questioned about their suitability? What is that? What is that called? Let's go back to fingerprints. There's a 4-step process. Know what that's called for identifying a print and confirming. We talk about superglue fuming. Know something about that. What is a swab? What do you use a swab for? That's a big thing you're gonna in the CSI world. Know about kind of the mindset for processing a suspect or a person involved in potentially a crime, and what kind of mindset do you need for that. A search warrant for blood. Okay, that's always a good one. Know who does that work. Mechanisms, cause, manners of death. Know about those. What does that mean? Thinking about some of the things that'll happen in regard to, say, a gunshot wound. What'll happen to the body if it's shot from a certain distance. Know some things about that. This will be one of those things where I've mentioned before about terminology and specifics. Strangulation, it's different than choking. If you choke someone, that means you block the passageway, but strangulation means you cut off the blood flow. So know what happens when you cut off the blood flow, and certain things happen to the body at that. Talk about perimeters on scenes. Know something about that. Read that New York Times article. It's an interesting article about medical examiners and some of the difficulties they face. I found it quite good, so take a look at that. Know some of the procedures in the courtroom. That's going to be important. We're going to talk about what the opposing attorney might do, and then how to present photographic evidence in court. And then know what a report is, and just what it is and what it isn't. Have some ideas on that. And what I mean is that's your written report. After you process a scene, you go back and you write a report. Know the priorities of life. That's going to be something you're going to carry with you all the time as a law enforcement officer, because remember, police officers aren't on the top of the list. They're a little ways down. So you have to put yourself in harm's way. And also, where does evidence fit in? That's an important one too, because it's not very high. So even as a CSI and you want evidence to be perfect, it's not at the highest. In fact, it's at the bottom. Talk about processing a vehicle. What type of evidence are you going to be looking for? Know what to look for at an autopsy if you see certain types of injuries. Say, for example, This might be a test question. Sharp or blunt force injuries. What is that going to, could that potentially mean? So also we go back to the pre-employment process, or for a police officer, forensic technician, talk about what kind of steps you need to take and what you need to know about and what you will be subject to. Crime scene diagram, what's the process for crime scene diagrams? And then talk about if you make a mistake. This harkens back to the idea of honesty and making a mistake in processing a crime scene, and you must own up to it. Same thing about honesty. In police work, you're going to make mistakes because you're a human, and that's what happens. But just know that you have to own up to it. If you cover it up or do anything like that, it's going to be an enormous problem. Could get you fired, could get you sued, could get you, all kinds of things could happen. So talking about that. So that is a very, very quick summary of the final exam. Believe me, you're going to be looking at the exam. You're going to have loads of time to work on it. I just wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for taking this course. I wish that we were all there in person in the classroom, because so much of this is hands-on and we just can't do it that way right now. But someday, I am optimistic, someday we'll all be able to be back in the classroom in some format. So thank you again. Take care. Please reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever, and best wishes for the rest of 2021. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.